As Manisha was talking about it, this is a picture of the trip that I took in January 2025. I traveled to 5 different parts of India. I met 17 of our 39 IFA Fellows. More important, I met them in their homes, in the places where they work. And that was very important for me. During this trip, I visited over approximately 21 different actual towns, villages, hamlets. These are named places that I go to that I kind of marked on the map, but you can see many of those little markers one on top of the other because they were all so close together. This morning, I actually took Google Maps and tried to add up the actual mileage in those 3.5 weeks that I was there. It did add up to 5,000 miles. When you look at the map of India, I started in Bombay, my hometown, the place where I grew up, and that is on the, you could say, the western coast and the border of India. I traveled north to Uttar Pradesh, and at one point I was 30 kilometers from the Nepal border. And then after that, I traveled to Bihar, and then from there, when I flew to Madras, I was 25 kilometers from the Bangladesh border. And then I went to this place in the south, in Tamil Nadu, in Rameshwaram, and I was 25 kilometers from Sri Lanka. So that was the length and breadth of the country that I happened to travel. But what was most amazing about this was it gave me an opportunity to interact with people in small group meetings, in one-on-one meetings. And if I were to make an estimate, there were probably 500 plus people that I interacted with in this just one trip. So I'm going to take you through the whirlwind of how this trip came about for me. And I hope you'll bear the speed at which I can go, because that is how fast and wonderful it felt. So where I started in Maharashtra. So this is a place called Majalgaon in Beed district in Maharashtra. So I traveled from Bombay to Pune, and from there by bus to the home of Jeevan Rathod. Jeevan Rathod is one of our IFA Fellows. He is the gentleman, the unassuming man in the center of this picture. And this is his home. He hosted me there. I stayed with him for 2 nights and then spent those 2 days riding along with him to the people that he works with. And these are the people who are sugarcane cutters. I just want you to watch what sugarcane cutting is. So this is a small That's it. Pick the sugar cane, cut off the head, and then make it into bundles and load it on a truck. They do this work 10 hours a day for 5 months, every single day. So those are the people that Jeevan Rathod works with, and how he does that is by traveling to their fields and sitting down with them and asking them about what are your problems? What are the things that I can do for you? And they tell him about the issues that they have, which are mostly about taking care of their children, finding healthcare, sending their children to school, getting a fair wage for the sugar cane that they are cutting from the sugar factories. So Jeevan Rathod and his associates work on negotiating with these sugar factories, advocating for better conditions, helping them. These are the tent towns where these people live, when they come there to do the cutting of the sugar. So we go there and sit down in front of these tents and talk to them. I was very fortunate to be along with him as we went and met about 8 different groups of these sugarcane cutters in the fields where they were working. And this is a picture of one of those places. And the next picture is a picture of a village where they work. Jeevan said, hey, let's get together some people and tell this person who's come all the way from a faraway land. And immediately there were 20 or 30 people ready to come and talk to me. In fact, that was something that I saw in every part of the country that I went to. People were ready to talk to me. They wanted somebody to listen to them. So I'm not going to, when you read the booklet in front of you, you'll read all about the work that they're doing. This is just flashes of the scenes that I saw. So I'll rapidly move to the next area that I went to. This is in central Uttar Pradesh. We have a number of IFA Fellows in the central Uttar Pradesh area, all around the area around Lucknow, the capital. There are IFA Fellows in a place called Sitapur, north of Lucknow, in Kanpur, a little south of Lucknow. And one of them are these two ladies, Surbala Vaishya and Richa Singh. These two, in fact, are two women who work with a large number of villages around Sitapur. In fact, I think they counted some 17 different villages that they work with. And once in a couple of months, in each of these villages, they hold a meeting. And they invite people to come. That day, in this place called Hargaon, about 100 people turned up. This is not some, they were not being paid to come here. They came there because they said, hey, we'd like somebody to listen to us, do something. Richa and Surbala are there to do that. Listen to them and see how, in fact, they're These are the villagers in Hargaon, and you see these people raising their hands up. What are they raising their hands up? Surbala just announced that day, saying, next week, we're going to hold a demonstration. We're going to go and stand in front of the block development officer's office and make sure that we get the work that is promised to us by the Employment Guarantee Act. So she asked, who is volunteering? Those were the women who raised their hands up. That's the sight that you see when you go and meet these people in those places. Next, I went to a place called Faizabad. I'm sure Faizabad is familiar to some of you at least. It's part of a city that is now very much in the news, Ayodhya. The name of the gentleman here, the IFA fellow that I met, is Mohammad Gufran. Mohammad Gufran leads a group called the Awadh People's Forum. And that consists of a number of people. This is the modest little house come office that all of them congregate in. And what do they do in that place? One thing they do is they get bookshelves, fill it up with books. They get computers that are donated by somebody, and students come there to sit and study. Sit and work on the computers. This is a free service that these people do. In fact, in almost every one of these IFA Fellows offices that I went to, this was one thing that all of them did. Get a place where you can put books and computers together, and students who don't have facilities, people in their homes who don't have the facilities to do those things, they come here and are able to study. Gufran works with a group of people, young men and women who are lawyers, teachers, and other types of people. And they all sat together and talked to me about the work that they do. One of the things they do is programs to foster communal harmony. I'm sure I don't need to tell you about Ayodhya and Faizabad and its tortured history, but I'd like you to listen to how they keep their spirits up.
रागनी को ढूंढते हुए गीत गा रहे हैं आज हम रागनी को ढूंढते हुए आ गए यहाँ जवां कदम जिंदगी को ढूंढते हुए गीत गा रहे हैं आज हम रागनी को ढूंढते हुए.
The next place that I went to is Eastern Uttar Pradesh. We have a number of fellows there, a lot of people in areas that are called Mau and Devariya and Mirzapur, around Banaras actually. This gentleman that you see here, Arvind Murthy, is one of our senior most IFA fellows. In fact, he acts as something like a coordinator, somebody who helps. He's very active in ICANN that Manisha told you about. And he has been one of the people that we have relied on for many, many years to help us identify fellows and work with them. What you see here is Arvind's half-built house. His house is just being built. And do you know what he has in this place? It's a large empty area. What does he want to do with this place? He wants to build a library here. He wants to fill this place up with books and computers so that students in that area around him can come here, work, and study. That is how IFA Fellows think of their homes. Their homes themselves are very modest. This is the house that Arvind lives in. That morning, a very cold morning, temperatures were 35 degrees. Somebody came there and said, I need to make this application to a government office. And Arvind sits down, looks at his application, helps him. That's the work that these people do. Arvind mentors a group of young women. These are young women who live this, they call them the Birangini Sena. And he got together this group of young women who are telling me about what they want to do with their lives. The most inspiring part of a visit with Arvind was he helped me meet these two young men. These are two boys who live in what's called the Musahir village. They are the first two boys in their entire village, among all of their extended families, to get to 11th grade. So we talked to these people, listen to them.
सपने क्या है तो क्या बनना चाहते हो वही तो पूछ रहे हैं उसको सपना
My dream name is Indian Army.
Okay. Very good. Or you tell me.
My dream is UPSC exam clear करना और my dream पहले तो घर का मतलब कंडीशन को चेंज करना जी और बहुत सारे मेरे ड्रीम्स हैं जो कि इस छोटी छोटी बात में बताया नहीं जा सकता सर.
That's what he says. This is Mahendra Rathod, one more IFA fellow. He works in an area called Mirzapur. Mahendra, in fact, has just, this year is when he joined us as an IFA fellow, but he's been working there for several years. One of the most, this is a group of people that he got together in his office. These are all people who are his friends, associates, and volunteers. They are men and women who go out to those villages and work with people on various types of help that they can provide. The most inspiring thing that Mahindra showed me is, again, a small village. There are 30 children in that village. None of them go to school because there is no school nearby. So what Mahindra does is, that young lady in the yellow sari that you see standing there, he enrolled her as a volunteer. 3 days a week, she goes to that village and teaches children the alphabet. We went there, I was fortunate enough to kind of interact with those children. We distributed some, copy books and slates and pencils for them to, they were so happy. They did a little performance for us. So those are the people that we made. This is another IFA fellow, Urmila Devi in Mirzapur. So she works with a group of villagers who live very near a large stone quarry. For years, they have been working or fighting with the administration on how to reduce the impact of the dust that is raised by the stone quarrying, the blasts that they are suffering, that cause a lot of disruption in their lives. And the group of people that she got together that particular day are the ones that are shown here. They are again part of the larger IFA and ICANN family. Now, another IFA fellow, Ram Kishore, works in another part of eastern Uttar Pradesh called Devariya. He got together another group of people, and each of these people, I just want to show you flashes. I mean, it'll take me too long to describe exactly what happened in each of these meetings, but most of that is what you can see written in your brochures. Next, I went to Bihar, and this turned out to be the most fascinating part of my trip. In Bihar, we have Mahendra Yadav. Mahendra Yadav lives in a city called Supaul, and Supaul is near the river Kosi. The river Kosi is a river that comes down from Tibet through Nepal into Bihar. And many years ago, they tried to narrow the course of the river by building embankments on both sides of the river. Unfortunately, the river doesn't listen to man-made structures. The river changes course every year. And people live within those embankments because that is the only place they can cultivate the land and continue to live in. Because it is in such difficult terrain, because it is between the embankments in the middle of a river, the administration, the government never goes there. Guess who goes there? Mahendra. Mahendra lives in Supaul, has an office. Again, what do you think this place is? It's his office. What do you people do there? There are students. He fills it up with books. They come there to study because that is the only place that they have to study for their exams. Mahendra took me on a trip into the river. Now that's a set of pictures. The first picture is the long dusty road that you have to walk to the river bank when we get on a boat. We use that boat, you can see the boat, people are, that's a picture of the boat from the bank. We get off the boat, walk still more, and then finally come into the village. It's a 1.5 hour trip. That's how long it takes to get to that village. But once you get to that village, you see a lot of people. That again, the picture on the left is a makeshift school. Do you think that's a government school? Do you think it's a school that somebody runs? No, it's Mahendra's volunteers who have people there teaching children how to read and write. And the village convenes a meeting because Mahendra says, hey, I've got some people here, they want to talk to you. About 250 people turned up in that meeting on that particular day. Now, I'm going to play a short clip for you. This is a woman who just spontaneously stood up and speaks in the language that she's speaking is Maithili. You may not understand Maithili, but I have a feeling that if you just listen to her, you will understand what she's saying.
अपना नदी का कंट्रोल करो सरकार बिल्कुल बिल्कुल नदी के हमरा का पुनर्वास दो न तो हमरा का जगह स्थापित करो न तो हमरा के जमीन का खाली करो नदी से.
This is a woman talking about the place that she is living in, the place that every year is endangered by a flood that can come and wash away their homes. What they are asking for is punarvas. Says, find a place for us that you can rehabilitate us in, where we can live. You can't control the river, she says that. Can you control, if you either control the river or give us a place where we can live and make a living. That is what Mahendra has been fighting for 15 years with the people who live inside the river Kosi. Finally, last leg of my trip was to the south of India, in Tamil Nadu. Now in Tamil Nadu, we have one of our newest fellows, Kannadasan. Now, Kannadasan is a member of a community called the Arundhatiyar community. The Arundhatiyars is a name of, you could say, a caste. In fact, it is a new name. They were originally called by a name that in Tamil was considered a term of abuse. What is the work that they do, the Arundhatiyars, or what were called scavengers. These were the people whose job it was to transport human feces from the open toilets that people used to use. Now, that work has never gone away. There are still septic tanks to be cleaned. When systems break down, sewage systems break down, somebody has to go into that pit and clear that. Who does that work? It's done by the same people whose ancestors did that job when there were no sewage systems. The caste system in India, as all of you know, I'm sure, is a very, very powerful structure, and it continues to make these people forced into the work that their forefathers were trying to get out of. What Kannadasan is doing is trying to help people get out of that work, telling them, you don't need to do this work. He took us to 3 different villages where the women and the men tell us about what are the problems that they face in terms of not having to do this work that they are in fact forced to because of the caste that they belong to. Now, the next segment is really about the fact that even when they do, Tamil Nadu, all of you may know, is a relatively more advanced state than Bihar or Uttar Pradesh, the 2 states that I was in before. Even there, this is something that I heard many times in other parts of the country too. This woman is describing the problem that they have in just getting what is called the free rations that the government provides. So the government promises everybody 5 kilograms of grain free. This woman is talking about her experience going to the ration shop to buy that. Now she's speaking in Tamil.
இப்போ 20 கிலோ போட்ட அரிசியை 13 கிலோ போடுறான். இப்போ 13 கிலோ வந்து ஒரு குடும்பத்துல 5 பேர் இருந்தா 13 கிலோ ஒரு மாசத்துக்கு கட்டுப்படி ஆகுமா? ஆகுதுல்ல. அப்ப அதே அதை குறைக்கிறாங்க. அதை எங்களுக்கு போடுற அரிசியை போடலாம். அங்க வந்து நம்மளுக்கு கார்டுல வந்து இந்த ஃபேமிலிக்கு 25 கிலோ அப்படின்னு இருக்கும். ஆனா இவங்க நம்மளுக்கு போடுறது 13 கிலோ தான். 13 12 இதுக்கு மேல போடுறாங்க. அது 2 நாள்.
What she's saying is, we go to the ration shops. Our ration card says that we are entitled to 25 kilograms of rice. But the person there gives us only 13 kilograms of rice. And we have nowhere to go to complain about that. Kannadasan, our IFA fellow, does that. He takes these complaints to the relevant authorities, helps them get that, apart from the other work that he's doing, which you can read about in the booklet that you have in front of me. So anyway, I don't want to take too much of your time and keep you from lunch. But what I wanted to come back with is what I learned in this trip. Now, what I learned from this trip, in a way that was dramatic because I happened to visit these people in their homes in these places, is the work that IFA Fellows do is real. It reaches real people. The people that you saw on the screen today are some of those real people. I have 1,000 photographs and videos that will take me all day to show you if I sit around doing that. But more important, this work is hard. You saw the homes that they live in. You saw the roads that they travel on. You saw the places that they are in. It's very, very hard. But it's inspiring. All of these people that I spoke to, the 17 IFA fellows, the hundreds of people that I interacted with, if I were looking to see if any of them had lost hope or saying, oh my God, this is terrible, this is very hard. No, I didn't hear that from a single person. They are inspired by the work that they do, and that inspires us. And that brings me to the final point, which is they deserve much, much more support. Manisha and Ragini told you about all the work that we've been doing over all these years. I have been part of IFA for many years, but this one trip made me think, is this all that we can do? There is so much, much more that we should be doing because all of these people deserve that support. But because I did go there and I'm here in front of you on behalf of all of our IFA Fellows, I want to tell all of you, our donors, thank you. You deserve our thanks and gratitude because that is what makes all of this work possible. Thank you very much.